Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our last week in October. We actually only have about 4 weeks, 3 after this, so we're going to be moving quickly toward the end of the semester. I enjoyed meeting with most of you last week. If you did not get back to me last week to give me a time and a date to schedule a meeting with you, please contact me as soon as possible so that we can talk and I can bring you up to speed on how you're doing in class and can talk to you about the last 2 graded assignments. This week you are working on your annotated bibliography. I talked with all of you last week about what is coming for the last unit of the class. And for this last unit, as we discussed, you are choosing one of the topics that I provided for you to choose from last week. It's in week 10. You're choosing one of those topics to research and gather some relevant secondary sources for, e-books perhaps, or magazine articles, journal articles, newspaper articles, relevant websites, and so on. In last week's module, you had a link to the tutorials that were provided by our library on how to use Galileo and how to do research, and also a PowerPoint presentation from the OWL at Purdue that also talked about research, particularly just general research on the web. So those were 2 guides that I provided you and I asked you to use last week to begin reading and doing research. This week you need to find the sources that you're going to use, a minimum of 6, and you will then create from those sources an annotated bibliography. That is due then on Friday evening by 11 p.m. in the assignment folder that I've created. Now, your annotated bibliography, remember, as I said, 6 entries. Your annotated bibliography is really going to consist of a works cited page in MLA form, and under each entry there will be a paragraph that discusses the source. So you're going to summarize, you're going to mention the author and the author's credentials. You're going to summarize the basic argument and content of the source, and then at the end of your paragraph entry you're going to discuss how you will use this source. On the sheet, the assignment sheet that I provided you in this week's module, I've given you a couple of sample entries that are written in that format, so you'll be able to see what kind of entry I'm looking for. I've also given you a quick guide, and another sheet handout just has a quick guide to MLA entry format for some of the most frequently used kinds of sources: a book, a journal article, a website, and so on. And then the third resource that I've provided you with is a link to a short video done by a college student to walk you through how to write an MLA annotated bibliography. So I think all of those should be very helpful to you. So as you do research and complete your research this week, remember that you're going to write 2 essays in this unit. You'll be writing a causal analysis. That is, you're looking at a particular issue, controversy, or problem that has to do with the food industry or nutrition. So you're going to be analyzing the causes for this particular problem or controversy in one essay. And then in your last essay for the semester, you're going to write an argumentative essay that proposes solutions for this problem. You're going to recognize the steps that are already being taken to address this problem and then recommend others. They may be policy or behavioral changes, various other possibilities. So keep those 2 essays in mind as you do your research this week, and complete your research and then turn in your annotated bibliography by Friday at 11 p.m. And then next week we will go on to talk about the causal analysis essay and how to write that, and I'll give you some models to follow.